Welcome to the Dodger Download, the official podcast of the Fort Dodge Community School District. Each episode brings you the latest updates from our schools, including school board recaps, interviews with educators, staff, and students, plus upcoming events and stories from around the district. Whether you're a parent, student, or community member, stay connected to what's happening in the Dodger Nation. Let's dive into this episode of the Dodger Download. Welcome to the Dodger Download, the official podcast of Fort Dodge Schools. I'm Superintendent Josh Porter, and today, this episode's all about our upcoming bond referendum. Whether you're a parent, student, or proud Dodger, we're glad you're here today. Before we get started today, the sponsor for October is Unity Point Health. In Fort Dodge, care isn't just what we do, it's who we are. At Unity Point Health, Fort Dodge, every nurse, every doctor, every specialist puts you at the center. From welcoming new life to guiding recovery, we deliver more than medicine. We deliver hope, compassion, and connection. Because here, it's not about patients and providers. It's about neighbors and helping neighbors. Today on the Dodge Download, we're excited to have Lindey Krug.
Hello.
And Miss Emily Klocke with us. And we'll be talking all about our upcoming bond referendum, a little bit about all of the bond referendum, specifically some fine arts, some CTE, but then some other parts of it. But before we dive into that and they introduce themselves, let's get to some board tidbits. So on Monday, we had a meeting, a regular board meeting. We approved 3 plans. We approved the LAO plan, special education plan, and TAG plan. That's just a yearly plans that we have to approve according to the state. We're just doing our due diligence. We also approved some first readings of policy. A lot of it was equal employment opportunity, just our standard every 5 years. They have to be evaluated. If you go to our board agenda, you can read through those policies. The other thing, 2 probably big ticket items for Monday's agenda, iPads for all third graders in Fort Dodge. So we've had some iPads. We need to upgrade some iPads. So now we have iPads in all third graders' hands, iPad pencils and dongles to meet our new handwriting curriculum. Nice. So I'm going to start doing some things with handwriting, a little untraditional. You guys probably remember when we were in school, paper pencil, dashes, writing it out, maybe learning a little cursive. So we're kind of getting back to that handwriting, that cursive. Obviously with iPads, you can go over and over and over and over again and should last a lot of years. There's actually apps that are tied to it. So the app will help the kids with handwriting, which is a new requirement from the state as well. So meeting that requirement and doing it. So kind of cool. Yeah. Probably the coolest thing we did at our board meeting on Monday night is we approved a bonus for our support staff. Nice. So this is, I think, the 4th or 5th year in a row, or maybe 3rd year in a row that we've gave a bonus to staff. One year we had that extra money. I think all staff in the district got it. Last year, the state allocated, like $900 or $1 million just for staff that met like the minimum threshold. So like $15 an hour or less. Last year we gave that all to paras. This year they gave us another allocation. All of our staff, all of our hourly staff kind of meet that qualification now. So this year it went to bus drivers, paraprofessionals, hourly professional support staff, so the non-salaried professional support. So not quite as much as what we've done in the past. It's about $620, but the board approved that last night, and that's per FTE. So if you're half-time, you would get $310, all that goofy math that we have to do to stay equal between everybody. But at the end of the day, I think their first check in November, they will all get a little bit of a bonus, so a little bit of a thank you to them.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Right time for the holidays.
Yeah.
Right. And the state hasn't allocated that yearly on a basis, so we can't really there's really not much you can do with it. You could either keep it and not use it for some things, or you could give it out as a bonus structure. So like I mentioned earlier, today on Dodger Download, I have Miss Krug and Miss Klocke. Both staff members at Fort Dodge Senior High. Miss Klocke is an assistant principal, and Miss Krug is our theater director and carries lots of hats. But I will let them introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how many years you've been in Fort Dodge, and go from there. Miss Krug, let's start with you.
Absolutely. Well, I am a Fort Dodge alum, so I grew up here, graduated
Love hearing that every time.
1995. And went to college and ended up coming back in 2012 after moving around a little bit with my family. And the reason I came back is because the theater position opened, and it was one of those kismet, fate, let's see what happens kind of moments. And here we are. So I'm back in Dodge. This is my 14th year teaching in Fort Dodge, so 17th overall. And yeah, I teach theater, I teach speech, I teach debate. I sometimes teach an English class here or there, and
help with the musical, I think, a little bit,
or
yes, a lot of it,
all
depending.
The things.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
I coach the I'm the head coach for the large group and individual speech teams. I direct the fall play, and I direct the musical. So yeah, lots of hats.
Yes. So Miss Klocke.
Oh man. So let's see. I'm Emily Klocke, and I am an assistant principal at Fort Dodge Senior High. I am 4 years into that role, and prior to that, I was teaching. Have been teaching since 2009, but I've been in Fort Dodge since 2014. My mom is a Fort Dodge alumnus,
Hey, there we go.
I grew up in Urbandale. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
We'll forgive you.
Yeah, it's her choices, not mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Fort Dodge, I've been an assistant principal, I've been an instructional coach, and I've been a teacher in the social studies department.
Gotcha.
And been great experiences. I love it.
So as the assistant principal, you have a few areas you oversee. Do you just want to tell? I won't call them specialties because sometimes you have to do a little bit of everything as the assistant principal, but you do have some specific areas that you oversee.
Yep. In the last 4 years, I have overseen our career and technical education department, which is a growing and thriving department, our math department. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get it wrong, but I've done TAG, I've done alternative education. I also oversee IJAG, which is Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates, which is another career-based department within our building as well. So it's a lot of opportunities for kids. Yeah. I also oversee our social studies department, so shout out to the guys I used to work with.
Yeah,
it's a great group.
Yep. We're here to talk about the bond referendum. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Ms. Klocke, you oversee the CTE area, and you oversee, you're in fine arts, and so you're involved in all fine arts. Mm-hmm. Some of your favorite coworkers all work within the fine arts area. So Mr. Paulson, Mr. Breeze, we don't have a big enough room. We can't bring everybody in here, but we've really, we shine a really bright light on our fine arts. I think our fall play is always phenomenal. Our musical, is this going to be your 99?
This is 99.
Year 99.
Oh, wow.
Probably one of the longest, if not the longest running high school musical production in the state of Iowa.
It's actually the longest running amateur production in the United States.
So there you go. Longest running amateur production in the United States. Mm-hmm. So excited for 99. I'm assuming year 100 is going to be really, really crazy and exciting.
I got big ideas.
Yes. Yeah. And we love big ideas at Fort Dodge. So, this bond referendum is a big idea, right? Mm-hmm. All this money's going to Fort Dodge Senior High. We're not an increase in taxes. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is, what does that mean as an employee of Fort Dodge or a staff member or a teacher that gets to work in that area, or you get to oversee these things? And so you guys know what our facilities are like now. What kind of impact does that have on the teaching and learning? Because I think that's really what it's about, right? We come to work every day to educate kids. Everything we do is about kids. So what does that mean if this bond would pass? What does that look like for our fine arts department?
Sure. Well, first of all, as an alumna, I look at coming into that space and being proud of that space. But it is the same space as when I graduated, if not, even prior to when I graduated. There are things in the little theater that have been around since inception. Yeah. So, so I take pride in that, and I want to instill that pride, hometown pride, school pride in my students. And it's sometimes difficult to do that when you have materials to work with that are so antiquated and old-fashioned and aren't used anymore. As an educator, part of my job is to get these kids career ready. And I've had a number of students go on to college to study theater, not just acting, but tech stuff. Right. And they get to college and they're like, I don't know how to use any of this stuff because everything Fort Dodge has was used 50 years ago. Right. And so we're not doing them any service by providing them experiences that they'll never use again. Right. And so we're just not going to be competitive that way either.
I think people forget too, right? Like we've put some money. It's not like we've just disregarded and not done anything. But when you start thinking about, let's just say replacing the sound system in the little theater, like that's a big overhaul. Yep. it should sound simple, but replacing the curtains or the curtain structure. Right. Like we had one fall down 2 years ago. Like it is super expensive. They're fire retardant curtains, right? Like it is not an easy or a cheap task.
No.
The lighting system, right? I can run the lighting system, but it's a pretty old lighting system, right? Like we've been in there and I fiddle around, I'm flipping switches and doing things. I couldn't do it for production. There's no way. I get it on enough so we can have a meeting in there or we can show something or give out awards or whatever we have to do. So
when you look at the functionality of if you want to talk about the lighting structure, the functionality of our current system, it doesn't function. We're at the point where the materials are so old, the equipment is so old that we can't find replacement parts.
Right.
Literally the bulbs burn out and then I don't have a light.
Right.
Because they no longer exist anywhere else. So that's an issue. The curtains, you're supposed to replace those every, I think it's 25 to 30 years because the fire retardants do wear out.
Yep.
They haven't been replaced in more than 40 years, I think. So there have been, the lighting board was replaced so that we had some updated, more digital look to that and feel to that, which was nice. And the sound system was updated within the last 15 years that I've been back as a teacher. So we are doing little things, but we're at the point now where we got to do some of the big things.
Yeah, exactly. And so, Ms. Klocke, you oversee CTE. That's a big buzzword, right? And I think Fort Dodge Schools, credit to you, Carrie, Stacy, and Sean too, as the principals of the middle school and high school. We've really put a big emphasis on this, and it's really growing. What is that? What does something like this passing do for you in that area?
Oh man, there's a lot. So with career and technical education, there's a big push with the state that all students graduate with some sort of work-based learning experience. We know that when students can identify any sort of work-based or have any sort of work-based experience in high school, that they're most likely to graduate at a higher rate, they're going to attend better, that they might choose a college or they might go straight into the job profession, but they're going to have those career networking opportunities that are really going to connect them and propel them forward. But to be hireable, to be desirable, to make those career connections, they need to be attending and learning and growing in spaces that are up to industry standards and that they're utilizing tools and supplies that are industry grade. So we try to replicate and build classroom spaces that are mimicking the environment in which they'll be working. So, our sponsor today is Unity Point, and we've been blessed to be working with them so much. So we try to make sure that we have hospital beds. We try to make sure that we have IVs, that we try to make sure that we have kits and supplies that our students will actually be using if they're going to be going into a medical profession. But we also have to make sure that it's a lab space that students can work in. And we might have a couple of beds that are functional right now, but our program is growing and expanding, and that's fantastic. But then we'll need space for kids, same with, our building and trades and our manufacturing, that is a growing and expanding area of need in our community. And so we've been growing and expanding there, but our ventilation is awful. So what might happen is that the guys might be welding and then the smell will come right back into the whole building. And I think,
the fire alarms might go off.
The fire alarms might go off. And I mean, you were in the building and like the smell will just permeate throughout the lunchroom or in the science hallway. And everyone will say, what is that?
what is going on?
All it takes
burning.
is, right?
That's really,
and one thing I wanted to mention too was I think one thing that's unique about Fort Dodge Schools right now, and everybody else is really, really struggling to fill staff members in some of those areas, especially the manufacturing and the welding and those auto mechanics. We've been really fortunate. I was just on a podcast with Dr. Ulrich as well, at Iowa Central, and talking about what's that look like as we build systems that go from middle school to high school to college, right? And we know not everybody's going to go to college, maybe not a 4-year college, but we do know we can provide a lot for kids right in Fort Dodge Senior High. They can get college credits. They can go out to Iowa Central. They can finish those credits and have a degree within maybe even a year or 2 years anymore. And so I like to mention we've been super fortunate to find really good staff members.
Absolutely.
To oversee those departments, and we really haven't. Like other schools are struggling to do that.
Absolutely. And we're fortunate enough that we see other schools send their kids to us because we do have high staff. We do have a lot of great class opportunities. And that's great. We want to be that for this area. We want to be that region. We want to be that school. I mean, that's Dodger pride right there, right? That we can attract other schools with the programming and the staff that we offer and the experiences that we can offer.
I'd say that's true in the fine arts as well. There's been a number of students who have transferred because we have a world-class marching band, because we have a competitive speech team, because we do theater all year long. So I've heard a number of students have said, I wanted to be where I could grow in that area, and Fort Dodge is that place.
I just think about the number of kids that take choir.
Yes.
Right? We have 2 choir teachers at the high school. Both of them, their classes are always full. Mr. Dries and
Miss Wonkum.
Both in there. Drawing a blank on her name there for a second. But you go in there and she's in the little theater. She's got a nice big space, right? Mr. Dries is in there and he's got 30 boys in there in choir class. Like, that's pretty unique to what others have to offer, One thing I wanted to mention about the bond a little bit, and you guys kind of started talking about it, is this isn't really just about Fort Dodge kids either, right?
No.
So you guys kind of mentioned it already. There's other kids that share these facilities, right? So in our college classes, we have kids that come over from other school districts. We have kids that come over from our private school. So St. Ed's right across the street. I think this year we have a few kids in marching band still, and so I think that it's a good note to remind everybody that this is, while it seems like a Fort Dodge Senior High, Fort Dodge Public Schools project, this is really about all the kids in Fort Dodge. We just know there's less teachers out there across the state of Iowa. It's harder to fill positions sometimes. That's where we partner with other people as a bigger system. And I think this is really about all the kids that are in Fort Dodge and potential experiences, because you never know what you're going to need or what you're going to want when you get older. And at some point it may not be offered somewhere else. So we always have our doors open to offer those things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I would argue that it goes beyond our community, or out into our community even, because our little theater is used for guest speakers and this forum that we have coming up. We're going to have people coming in to see it. And so I hold competitions there. So people from all over the state come in and use our theater. And I'd like to give them a space to do that is worthy of them coming in and being able to say, this is what Fort Dodge is about. And isn't it cool? You know?
And that's what's nice, right? Is that we actually, as a public school, use our facilities and rent our facilities out. Same with the pool and things like that, right? It is a public building.
It's a public building. Yep. And I think do we host state jazz band typically sometimes?
We host all kinds of things.
Regional jazz. Like I always see jazz band, and then there's all these jazz bands that come in all day long during the school day. It's always like a hustle and bustle. Where's everybody going to be? Who's going where? But that's a facility that's used a lot. All
jazz,
those fine arts.
Solo and ensemble, vocal, instrumental, like all of it. We host so many events.
Yeah. So the reason why we're doing this is for the kids.
Absolutely.
I do want to talk about heating and cooling temperatures at some point, because while that's not fancy, and you can't see it, I know you work in an area that is really imbalanced. You oversee CTE, which is the ventilation part, and it's hard to have proper ventilation, but also have proper heating, proper cooling as well, and the same thing. But what are those type of things? And when we talk about it being all about the kids, what's it mean to the kids, or what does that look like for kids when we're able to provide them with a different type of space?
What we're really pushing in CTE are those work-based learning experiences, right? And so we want to make our kids marketable, and we want to make them employable. And so our kids, one, they love our instructors. They love their classrooms. They really take a sense of pride and ownership in what they're doing. And it's that, I think it is that sense of self-confidence and that agency, that the skills that they're acquiring in our building and in these classes are going to provide them a future, right? And that is so cool to see. Like, I was just in the auto shop yesterday, and they were doing scan codes under the hood of a car, and one kid was helping another kid, and they were doing battery testing. Like, just the idea, that I can help you and you can help me, and we feel confident to do this. Right. And the instructor just had to ask a few prompting questions, and the kids were just being self-reliant, and these kids can see and connect a future with that. And then we can connect them to an employer and provide them an internship opportunity. And then they're marketable right out of high school, right? We can make those connections for them, because we have so many great employers in the community that are also supporting us. Like this is just so awesome for our kids, right? Like that they are just finding those connections, or they can go straight out to Iowa Central and get a certification there as well. Like there's just so many pathways open to them now that all we just need is just to continue to expand those opportunities. You know, auto, for example, the market's changing a little bit, right? Like my husband drives a hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't have those opportunities yet, but maybe expanding the auto shop to now also take a look at those types of opportunities that gives our kids just a little bit more marketability. It's going to happen, right?
It's going to happen, right?
So,
I think Molly Nelson, our school board member, said it best on one of the first podcasts that we had, right? I think she said our kids and education has evolved, and our building was built in 1958, and we have done some really nice things to the English pod, social studies, the library, cafeteria. We added a gym, updated a wrestling room at one point. But it's really time for the rest of the building to evolve, and that's what's fair, and that's what's best for kids.
Absolutely.
And so when we think about our students in fine arts, one of the things I think about a lot is the struggle we would always have every year to figure out where we're going to build the set.
Amen.
With the bond referendum, we're addressing that need and that itch that we do not have to go and beg people downtown in buildings or some family barn to go build a set, and we can try to build the set, 2 blocks from where we host our musical. So we host our musical at the middle school, that wonderful facility, huge facility. So it's really hard to host such a large event at the little theater, but this new facility to build the set, like, what does that do for you guys?
The stress level, just for myself personally, like we don't know where we're building this year yet, because last year we had a classroom and this year this classroom is filled. So now we're back to square one. So we have to every single year. Every single year we readdress this question. Where do we build the set? It's nice to have everything in the same location. Right now, things are just everywhere, stored wherever we can find a nook or cranny. Let's see, what else? I mean,
I remember when we were remodeling and doing the heating and cooling in the gym, and they're like, hey, we got to move this stuff up above the gym. And I'm like, well, what stuff is it? They're like, oh, it's theater. It's theater clothes.
Costumes.
Like for costumes.
Everywhere.
Costumes. And I'm like, what are they doing above the gym? Like, they're like, oh, I just don't have anywhere to put it. That's just where it went. And I went up there for the first time, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And you see how much
there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
So this new facility, it gives you access to build a set,
right?
A lot of storage opportunities. I think the one thing that people probably don't realize is there's a lot of outside volunteers that come in to support and help with, like, even our fall play, build sets, our spring musical. While we don't mind having people in our actual school building, it does help that it would be detached, that we can have those people out there, provide restrooms for them. You don't have to worry about them wandering all over school, inside the school building. If we have that set out there, I mean, there's one place, one spot, and it's one place for people to locate and get everything to. They don't have to wander all over the building looking for stuff or run home and grab something. Like, everything's in one spot.
There. Well, I stumble into this, the little theater as it is. It's a shared space. It's a classroom. I use it. Mr. Paulson uses it for jazz band. And so when we're in that musical season, it's just everything is everywhere, constantly happening. And it's like, I've said it before, it's like being a guest in my own home. And we can't build on the stage because somebody else is using it at that time. So we have to be somewhere else. And to be able to actually teach my technical theater class in a space that has space, that we don't have to take 20 minutes to just jump all over the building to find things. It's just not efficient. And that I am beyond over the moon that we're going to get a scene shop.
Yes.
Just love it.
And so just the last couple of things that are on that bond referendum that we really haven't talked about, the pool, as you guys probably have heard through speaking things and paper and publications, the pool's kind of in jeopardy a little bit. So pool is aging really fast. It wasn't built in 1958 like the rest of the building, but the pool is 50 years old. And so after 50 years, things just start to fall apart a little bit. And so
what are you saying?
If you're on the surface level and you see the pool, you're like, hey, this looks really nice. But the real problem is the underneath and the infrastructure, which would discontinue us having a pool. So that's a big one. The weight room was built, I think someone said in 2001, 2002, somewhere in that time frame. while at the time it was fitting because weight rooms weren't really a big ticket item, we've probably quadrupled, if not even more than that, the amount of kids that actually use that space in a day, from before school to during the school day to after school. So to the point where we really can't get everybody in, it'd be nice to be able to have everybody in there. You're talking about time for kids, time for staff. And so obviously some opportunities there as well. Talking about the front entrance of the high school. Like, we haven't talked about that one a lot, but that canopy, unfortunately, it leaks. Unfortunately, we paint it. It still rusts. It has no signage. There's no hey, this is the front of our high school. And so I think that's a need as well, and can really jazz up the place, or
curb appeal,
curb appeal when you're driving by, or we have visitors come a lot, like, hey, we want you to come to the front office. Well,
people don't know where the front is.
Well, which side is the front office? So now we can always say the west. Some people don't know the directions. They drive around twice. Right. They can't find the front of the building. So we can help alleviate some of that and do some of those things. And while that may not matter to a lot of people, it does matter to people that visit our staffing and our staff and our kids. So
I remember when our windows got redone, and this is before I started teaching in Fort Dodge, but just came back for a visit, and I drove by and I went, oh my gosh, the school looks so good. And all it was the windows. It was just this little thing. So even those little touches, like the canopy, it just updates and changes the whole thing.
So windows were updated. One thing that hasn't been updated, if you drive along the west side, a lot of our foreign language classrooms still have window air conditioners.
Yes.
Part of this project would eliminate that. Also eliminates asbestos. So we still have asbestos in the building. I know the upstairs math. I think we have some health classes, some special ed classes up there. Like that, it's
my classroom up there, 221.
Yes. Yeah. So if you remember
at one point,
if you remember the green tile in the bathrooms, I was a 99 grad. It was green tile in 1999. So like I said, it's just one of those things where, there's some much needed upgrades, especially from heating, cooling, lighting, the surface that kids are learning in, or the classrooms that kids are learning in, I think is extremely important. And while it may not have been or thought about that much, when we were in school, that's just a big deal to kids and families, especially when we're trying to recruit them to come in, or they're new to town and, they're trying to figure out where to go to high school, or they're trying to figure out where to go to school at, or if we're trying to recruit someone to work for us. Right. Teacher shortage is a real thing that we work really hard to recruit people. But, sometimes we can provide them with a really awesome facility, back it up with programming and support. Maybe that is the ticket to getting someone in the door.
Absolutely.
100%.
I remember, so we give tours, right?
Yep.
Of the high school. So my mom had her, I won't tell you the year, reunion. Yep. And so my 221 was
your class?
My classroom, but it was her homeroom. And so she was there with her friends, and she's like, oh, nothing's changed. And it was, ouch. Yeah. It has changed, Mom. It has.
Just a little bit.
But not enough, because she's a 67 grad, and we need it to change. Yeah.
Yep. Before we wrap up today's episode, a quick thank you to our friends at Unity Point Health of Fort Dodge, where care is personal and people come first. From the clinic to the hospital, their team goes above and beyond to keep our community healthy, strong, and ready for what's next. Because when it comes to caring for Fort Dodge, they know the point is you. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on the podcast today. We probably wanted to remind our community that we have a community forum. That forum, that we're going to have some staff there. We're going to have some school board members there. It starts at 6:00 on October 23rd at Fort Dodge Senior High in the Little Theater.
Yes.
We are going to give a presentation that'll outline the projects that we're going to be addressing with the bond referendum. Brandon Hansel will be giving a viewpoint of the financials. So I think it's good to remind you right now, it's a no tax increase. He'll be going through all those fine details of what that means if it passes or if it doesn't pass. It's a great opportunity for our community to give input as well, or ask questions, especially if they want some clarifying questions. We're also going to take some time right after that to give some tours. You'll get to see the underneath of the pool. You'll be in the little theater. You'll get to see the CTE. You'll get to see some of our classrooms. And we'll make sure that everybody gets a tour and gets to see everything that they would like to see, so they know exactly where that money's going, what we're going to be doing with it, and how it's going to be utilized. So I encourage you to attend. We plan on that being no more than about an hour, right? We'll start at 6, plan on being done by 7 o'clock. But a great opportunity for our community. I know you two will be there as well to help with tours and answer questions. And so we're excited about that. As we wrap up, anything else you guys want to share about the bond referendum, or make sure that I think is really important for our public to know?
I just think this is a great opportunity to support our students, to support our staff, to support the community, actually. And so I'm just really excited that this is an opportunity that's on the table for everybody, both as an assistant principal and as a former teacher there, and as a mom whose kids swam in that pool, right? Like, this is just a great opportunity, and I'm really excited that the district is, I don't know what else I can say.
Kind of pursuing that, moving in that direction.
Yeah. So,
Ms. Krug?
Yeah. So I think that this is an investment in the school, but when you invest in your school, you invest in your community. And, we have the saying, once a Dodger, always a Dodger.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like it's really important to exercise that right to vote, and hopefully, we can get this thing passed so we can do just that.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for your time.
yeah, thank you.
As we wrap up, I'm going to remind her again, October 23rd, 6 p.m. in the Little Theater, we will have our community forum. That should only take about an hour. We'll include some tours of the facilities that we are going to be addressing with our bond referendum. It's also homecoming week.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So
Go
homecoming week's
Dodgers.
exciting. Go
Yes.
Dodgers. We host Lamar's at 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Absolutely.
The homecoming parade. Well, let's just start at the coordination is at 1:15 at Fort Dodge Senior High. That's when we will crown our king and queen. And then from there, we will have our parade, which will be downtown again, which will start roughly about 3 o'clock. So one of the things that I've been most excited about is since I've been here, I was the AD, I'm on year 5 of being back in Fort Dodge. We've really seen that grow, right? Like the community support and being down at the parade. We've made some small adjustments. Like we've allowed and got our staff to be able to attend a little bit, right? So school gets out early. We hope that offers an opportunity. So school gets out 2 hours early. That offers an opportunity for every student in Fort Dodge schools to attend.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they get home, they'll be home on the bus, and plenty of time to get downtown for the parade. Those staff members that want to go to coordination, whether you're at Cooper or ECC, like it becomes a little bit tougher at the elementaries, but they do have an opportunity to try to get there and support our kids. And I know our elementaries really like to see
The bigs.
the big kids, their
absolutely.
former students up there, or
Yeah.
see them in there, and the kids like to see them just as much as anybody else.
Absolutely.
So
Which makes our graduation parade really cool too, because when they go through and they're
our parade of graduates, which will be here at May, will be here before we know it.
Always
Exactly.
goes fast.
And next time, I'm excited that Leah Glasgow, CEO of the Unity Point Hospital, will be joining me, and we will be talking about health occupations and that stream 712. So excited for our next episode in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
Until then, thank you for joining us. Make sure to follow us on social media. Give us a like, give us a share. And as always, go Dodgers.
Thank you for listening to the Dodger Download, your source for all things Fort Dodge schools. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share with your friends, family, and fellow Dodgers. For more update and resources, visit us at fdschools.org or follow the Fort Dodge Community School District on social media. Until next time, keep showing that Dodger pride. This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515 888-302-8026 or visit our website at www.spinmarketwith2ks.com.